too busy educating, providing the future of this country, educating the young people.
You won't get an award off the back of this. No.
It's complete performance point of view. From a football club, I think it's the best thing to do, to stop over, because you can control everything there.
Gaffer's getting the beers, so I spent £100 on
100 quid for 20 lads. That's flipping heck.
Then I'll sort of see the masseurs and stuff, do all my stretching. Just look after. I used to love that feeling for a game where, again, you're just being so selfish. Just concentrating on yourself.
I had some of this pre-workout.
Face tingling.
I was literally all over the place. Don't remember the goal. Literally, went 2-0 up.
Better player, hallucinating.
Yeah.
We should stop at the Wetherby Whaler chip shop. Obviously Wetherby just outside Leeds. Get out, 18 fish and chips.
But we would have Wagamamas, Nando's.
What?
Honestly, everything. Anything you can think of, and you go in.
And it's funny because the losses you dwell on. The wins, I'm on to the next one.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of In the Stiffs. I'm here with my friends Gavin and Dave, and we are in the luxurious location of my office at Borbrook Primary. I provided some treats for the lads.
Pathetic.
What?
Awful.
What's the matter, Gav?
Well,
awful.
I set the standard when we were in the Stiff Studios. We've got.
And you bought 3 boxes of cheese tomato pizzas.
And he's had notice as well, hasn't he?
It's very. Oh mate, how many times have I put it on the chat?
Right.
So we've got. You won't see it here because me and Dave have had to
And will you subscribe? Oh.
Viscount. So there's a Viscount. There's a caramel. They're decent, to be fair.
Yeah. Tonics.
And there was one each of them, which was a great effort. But there's one Kit Kat.
2 finger Kit Kat.
2 fingers though, because I won one because I'm training, so it's a finger each.
Oh right, okay, brilliant. Thanks, mate. Great effort.
So yeah, I'm the better. Obviously, I mean, I don't know whether I've mentioned it before, but the difficulty with me meeting you two is I work full time. I've got a full-time job, so sometimes work. It's different. I know the listeners probably understand this better than Dave and Gav. Obviously, when you're working, you work Monday to Friday. You're busy in the day, so you can't meet at 2:00 on a Tuesday afternoon. Or oh no, can't make 2:00 Tuesday afternoon. What about 1:00 Wednesday afternoon? No, can't make that either. What about 11:00 on Thursday? No, can't make that either.
So you haven't got any time to put on a bit of a spread for the lads?
I haven't got time. I'm too busy. Educating, providing the future of this country, mate, educating the young people.
You won't get an award off the back of this. No. There's no point in self-advocating.
I'm just talking about the children. Obviously, the children just left not that long ago. Obviously, I wouldn't introduce Gav and Dave to them, so we got them out of the way before these two came in.
Insinuating there.
Laughing, went swimming today, and we just sat at the side of the pool, and one of the boys just went, "Why have you got loads of lines in your forehead?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And one of the other lads looked at the other lad and said, "What? It's just wrinkles. It's just wrinkles." And I was just going, "Oh, that's all right, isn't it?" I think if you are precious and proud, you can't be a teacher because they literally just say it as it is.
Because if you say, like we were talking about earlier, weren't you? If I'm in my bedroom in my pants, saying to my wife, look at me. She tells me everything I want to hear.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're around the kids and that, and you're I don't know, like Meadow, my youngest, she will literally go, "Daddy, why have you got such a big forehead?"
Yeah.
"Daddy, why are your eyebrows so white?" I'm like, "I don't know. Have you even got a left eyebrow?" She says this stuff, but I love it.
Yeah, you've got to be strong and you can't be too vain. We had one before with a TA. This was in previous school, and she'd drawn a picture of herself, and the child was like, "Well, that doesn't really look like you, miss." And it's like, "Well, why not? Because you're much bigger than that." And she was like, oh, okay then.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. Cheers. Yeah.
I thought we'd have a little chat today, but it's about preparation, because we've been talking off air again, haven't we, about preparing, and as we always do, talking about what we've been up to. And 2 of us are training a little bit now. One's fallen off the wagon, and then next week it'll be 2 others. So just how we prepare, obviously, when we're having to be consistent when you're in the season.
I think it's also good as well, isn't it? And we've spoken before about when you have got the right circle to motivate each other. Like we were saying the other week, I was the one who was falling by the wayside. I hadn't been in the gym for a couple of weeks. I was making all the excuses, and then you lads were like, "Oh, we've been bang on it with this shred fast. You need to get on it." Blah blah. And that sort of instigated me. And it is okay to ebb and flow a little bit, isn't it? It's like life doesn't always serve up an easy menu, does it? It's sometimes you just got to accept that. Right, okay. I won't get too high when I'm in the gym every day, and I won't get too low if I'm not, you know. Some people, it's a walk, isn't it, of the dog. It doesn't have to be, but it's good to be around good people, isn't it, to help motivate
to help
each
drag
other.
you along when you aren't feeling that.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's okay to have those days, isn't it, as well, where you don't feel up for it, but the movement helps, doesn't it?
It's peer pressure, isn't it? Healthy peer pressure. Like, you know, it's all right to be a bit envious. And I think I'm like, I'm a fuming if.
For me and you, like flipping, haven't we?
All the time.
Like if I'm like, I've eaten really healthy, Sam would be like, oh, we should see what I've eaten today.
What did you have? I had a tub of mince. I had 2 tubs of mince.
Yeah.
I had onions in mine. Well, I had onions and peppers in mine.
Yeah, do you weigh yours? No, I weigh mine.
That means I'm better.
But it is good though, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
you
as long
drive
as it's
each
with
other
the
on.
right intention, because you want it, like as well, what you want each other to do well, don't you? You want each other to prosper and families do well. So it's important that you drag each other along, I think.
And you should give each other a little bit of stick. I do think it helps, as long as it doesn't, like, you know, damage someone's mentality, but it's improving them. Like when I do you said show me your press ups, and I showed you me press up, and you went, oh, you're only doing half press ups then. It's expected. Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about in the middle of the season when you are playing Saturday, Tuesday, and you're in that routine. Talk about the routines on a Friday night before you play on a Saturday, because I'm actually genuinely interested in this, because my boys were asking me about people stopping over the night before for home games and that, and I said, to be honest, I don't know what to do now. That in the past, so when I was at any club, a home game, you wouldn't stop in a hotel, you'd stop in your own bed, then you'd probably just go straight to the game for like 1:30, 1:15. Now I don't know now what people do, whether people meet somewhere, whether people have pre-match together for home games.
Best for that one, Dave.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think most sort of, I'd say, Premier League clubs where budgets don't really exist as much. I think they'll put on hotels for lads to stop in. Sometimes it's compulsory
for home games.
For home games as well. The back end of my time at Wolves, it was compulsory. We all stayed in the hotel before a home game, and we do like prepping, just like an away game. Then you do your prep in the evening after your food and things like that, and then you sort of have that leisurely morning.
I remember when I was at Telford and we had that we were luckily enough we had that semi-final of the trophy, and we trained at Watford, and I had Troy Deeney's brother, so he was sort of there as well. He was at Watford's training ground, and I was saying, "Oh, what are you doing here now?" He's like, "Oh, we stay in a hotel like every Friday, like without fail. That's what they do."
I suppose there's advantages and disadvantages, isn't it? A disadvantage is not being in your own bed, but advantage is getting away from the missus and the kids and the chores and
I think from a complete performance point of view. From a football club, I think it's the best thing to do, to stop over, because you can control everything there. Do you know what I mean? You control what all the boys are eating. You can get the extra prep in. You've got no worries and stuff at home. And we talk about sort of things that might pop up at home. And it's not like going out or anything like that. But you know, sometimes you have a bad night's sleep if the kids are up late and things like that. And you do still feel a bit guilty that your missus is doing everything.
Yeah.
I like just being lazy and selfish on a Friday night in a hotel. You got
to be selfish now to be a top
Emma said you're like that on a Thursday night.
Yeah, I think like in order to be a top footballer now, I do think there is an element where they have to be really selfish, don't they? Like I
think you've got to be though. I mean, if you're winning 30 grand a week, and I don't know, the kid cries in the middle of the night. Like I'm saying to my wife, I'm playing football in the morning. Like we've got this nice house because of me. Like, can you get up and look after the baby?
Yeah.
I think as a family you would do that, wouldn't you? Prioritise like that Friday night. You've got to make sure that you give yourself that rest. You can't be getting up in the middle of the night 3 times because the baby's crying, can you?
No.
And then
I really enjoy Friday nights though. I've said it before, but in the hotels in particular, because you can just completely switch off, can't you? It's so nice. You finish your dinner, you do all the prep you need to do, and you can literally just go up to your room, put the telly on, and just like do nothing. And that's quite nice as a footballer, that you have those moments like without the pressure and all those sorts of things.
Will the lads still have roommates, or are they single rooms and that now?
Again, I think the higher up you get options. So at Wolves, you could have your own room if you wanted. But then, say for instance, when I was back at Shrewsbury, it was if we did stay over. So at Shrewsbury, we'd only stay over if it was over 2.5 hours away. So like you'd literally put it in Google, and if it was 2 hours 31, you would stay. If it's 2 hours 29, you wouldn't. Day. And then it was double. But I used to like to stay on my own. So you had the option to pay like a supplement to get in your own room, and I always used to do that.
So you used to stop on your own. Is this home games and away, or just away games? Just away games. You'd stop by yourself in the room.
Yeah, and that was more because like I had a real set routine, and I'm not one to really lie in. So I don't like the idea of waking up early and then you got someone asleep next to you, and you sort of
snoring.
Turn around the place and things like that. So I'd always pay for my own room on my own schedule, and then it was
It's understandable though, isn't it? Because like you say, when it's your profession, you've got
It's
to do it.
high stakes, isn't it?
It is,
high stakes. So you gotta
even
prepare.
like funny enough at Brackley, like before I took the job, they'd never stayed overnight, or they'd stayed overnight once previously, but got absolutely hammered. So they were like, right, we're not doing this. And
I suppose if you're going to stay overnight and you spend the money and you lose 4-0, you're like, well, that was a waste of time.
Well, at our level, because it's a big cost, but luckily enough, the club's progressive. They want to do well and like back my suggestions, and like so we've got a budget now of obviously not every, but like if we're up in South Shields, we're going to try and stay overnight. It's not a given, but we're going to do everything we can to make it work as a football club to try and stay overnight, because to drive up on the morning, it's hard work. So it was...
It's an early start, isn't it?
Anyway?
Yeah. And then you're all out of rhythm with your food and things like that. You're cramped on the bus. And however well you try to prepare, you still feel a bit shitty, don't you, when you get off the bus and you're trying to get warm and that, you feel like your legs aren't quite there.
We had it at Scarborough last year. We didn't stay overnight, and I tried to do something a little bit different off my own back, and we stopped off in York for a pre-match meal, but that meant the lads had to go a little bit earlier. It was a real learning curve for me. And then they sort of got there, and it was a bit of disruption, and it was a nice meal in a nice hotel, and then they were like, well, can we just get to the game? And then they got off the coach, and it was like we were unbeaten at the time, and it was all a little bit mismatched. And funny enough, we played Truro just the week just gone.
5 hours away.
Yeah, and like obviously I lost my head a little bit, like I suppose in media, if you want to call it that, because I was like, the FA stipulations were anything over 5 hours with a 45-minute stop was, they would pay, and we sort of qualified for that, and they decided that they weren't going to do it, so I kicked up a bit of a fuss. But then the club were like, look, obviously you've got this overnight stay in the budget. You can use it up on this if you want to. Now, I'm always a big believer in the present, so you should really use it as it is, because if you do well and then you win that FA Cup and you get the draw, they might give you it again. So, but I was like, Truro's like past Newquay. So on a Friday, and it was raining, it's probably going to take you 8 hours. So then they're going to be knackered from that. Then they're not going to stay in their own bed. And it's not like they stay every home game and every away game in a hotel. So they're not used to it. So in the end, I just decided we're going to go up on the day. Because I just felt like everything weighed up. But when we have stayed overnight on a Friday, it is brilliant, because...
Has the results been good when you've done that?
Yeah, we've been fortunate, and like even we had one poor performance, but still got a last minute goal to draw. But the performances have been very good. And again, away from family, I'm a real homeboy, so I love being at home. I love being with the family. But when you're away, I am like so well prepared. I'm literally like, I find myself like almost like going, oh right, okay, what can I do now? And there is nothing to do, but I'm constantly thinking like, what can I do next? What can I do next? What can I do next? So it's
interesting what you were saying about stopping off for a pre-match, so like lower league, and if you are travelling all day, that's the norm then. So you leave early, you try and get on there for about 12 o'clock somewhere near or en route, and you'll have a pre-match there. Yeah. That's one thing I never used to enjoy, because you do wait around a long time.
It's just
you have the pre-match venue for probably a good hour or so. You have your food, which is always just like pretty standard, is it? Cereals and toast and all that sort of stuff. Then you end up just hanging around for ages.
Yeah,
we had an extra hour in bed this morning.
Sat in the foyer. Yeah, it's just a bit. I think as well.
I never used to like that.
You've got to be a little bit like from a lower league. From like you say, when the budgets aren't really an issue, you can just do whatever, can't you? But from our perspective, I do think that there's a little bit of overkill. So sometimes I have thought, we could go a bit earlier and have a bit of a pre-match meal. And then I just think, actually, as a player, as professional as that is, and it's probably a bit of a show thing, it's probably not the right thing to do. Yeah. The players just want to get there. They're on the coach. They've got their meals anyway. And one of our players, funny enough, he does meal prep. Lil Bites, it's called, because he's called Zach Lilly. So it's called Lil Bites, and he makes an absolute killing. Every time we go away, so we'll have to clip this for him. But every time we go away, he does the best meals ever. Like, puts the menu on the chat. All the lads start flying it out on the chat, start going, I'll have sweet chilli this, and I'll be doing this. And so he makes, so he's like, Gaffer, are we staying overnight? And I'm like, no, mate. He's like, oh, brilliant. Like, sticks it out.
A few quid. Yeah. The buses are better now, though, aren't they? Like, when we was at Sunderland, like, you'd have one table, and you'd be a fight to get that table, and obviously you just get bullied by the older lads, and so you'd be sat like as if you're on a EasyJet flight, like, you know what I mean, no room, like it's 4 hours, just sit on there, off you get your shin pads on, go and play.
There's tables everywhere now.
Yeah.
There is definitely a line between wrapping them up in cotton wool, but it is definitely something I brought in again, spoke to the club and just went, look, the coaches that we're going on, they're not really sufficient. And obviously it's hard because we play in the National League North. So you can't expect to be, but yeah, we're lucky. We've got a great commercial guy, Will, who managed this year. He managed to go out and get some extra funding for us to upgrade the coach. So it's just little details like that can make a real difference, you know. So
yeah, the old
I know he listens to the podcast as well, so he'll be loving that.
The old ones used to go on visit Shrewsbury. You used to have like the one telly, didn't you, above the toilet, which is like tiny. The lads would like bring. There's always someone with loads of dodgy DVDs being brought along. And you put it in, and everyone's trying to listen to it and things. It's we were iPads and all that.
Yeah, well, we at Sunderland, we were buzzing. I think it must have been when we got in the Prem, because they had like the normal bus, so like 3/4 way up, but on the back of the bus there was just a big round table, and the seat around there, and it had the telly on there. So that was just a card table, and on the way back we'd have like Oasis on, and then Peter Reid would be like, right lads, there's loads of beers in the fridge, and everybody would be about on the bus, all the Budweisers, and it was all like drinking together. And it was like the bus journey back from games was some of like the best days ever. But
that's a podcast in itself, isn't it?
That doesn't happen anymore, does it?
Well, we had
when you come back from True Road, you not have a few beers, 5 hours.
We did, yes. It's 5 hours, but it's probably
and you've won. This is just for the listeners. You've won the FA Cup. This was last week. You won 2-0 away at True Road. You've travelled on the day, so you're buzzing, aren't you?
It's literally like they're the best days.
You've got to have a beer there, haven't you?
And it was the performance was brilliant as well. We were proper on the front foot, electric, back to our best. And I just said to the lads, right, you got Tuesday off straight away, because the journey, what you've got to remember is like a lot of the lads as well. Again, you have to look at the individuals. A lot of them are on courses, and there's a lot goes into it to determine, because you can't really just willingly have that time off. But it's like not Tuesday off. You've got to go away and you've got to do this. So they've got their GPS, so they've got to do their work at home, but they haven't got to travel in. So it's cutting the travel out, basically. Then it was like, Gaffer's getting the beers, so I spent £100 on like...
£100 for 20 lads? That's like, it's only beer each, isn't it?
Now, you get all the lagers.
I'll be like, any chance, Gaffer? I'll be all right, that one Budweiser. I haven't got the car, Gaffer. I can have a couple more.
Well, they started tucking into my bottles of Versailles and I lost my head. But they're having these fruit ciders and all these weird drinks and all that. So they had everything that they wanted. It just came to £100. I didn't give them a limit. But it was like... You know, have a tear up on the coach on the way back. Like, do what you want. Like, I'm buzzing for you. No judgment. It's not a test. Do what you want. And like, they have a great time. They did. It was very loud and very like funny, and there was a lot going on. But it's, again, it's definitely another podcast. Some of the stories from back in the day, like lads getting naked and stuff like that. It's definitely another podcast. That.
So if they're going to, so they go in the hotel the night before. So they've obviously parked their car at the hotel. Like, say Wolves. Say you're playing for Wolves. So you drive to the hotel for a home game.
No, so you
drive to the ground.
So you get you would leave the training ground. You would drive to the stadium.
What, on Friday?
So after training's finished, you'd have to be at the stadium. So we didn't always go straight after training. It might be like at 7 o'clock we're going to leave the stadium or something like that.
At night, 7 o'clock at night we're going to leave.
You can go back if they want. It's a nightmare for someone like me, because obviously for me to get back to Shrewsbury and then back, it wasn't really worth it. And we used to stop in Telford as well, the hotel.
Right.
So I could go back and then drive to Telford, and my car's stuck in Telford there because I've got to get the bus to the game. So I'd always just hang around in Wolverhampton. But leave your car at the stadium, a bus will pick you up, take you to the hotel, stay over, and then obviously bring you back to the game the next day, and then your cars are at the stadium ready to go home. Yeah. It seemed bizarre, because Telford's not even that close. It's still like 25-minute, half an hour drive.
Yes, sometimes it's faff. I used to like just go to the game. Just go to the game. Say you're half one. Just be half one. Say you're half one. Stadium of Light. Brilliant. I'll see you there.
I was torn. I was always like, I loved the antics. I used to love the hotel, because I was like a little kid in a sweet shop. But from a, like you say, performance point of view, there was nothing better than sleeping in your own bed and just getting to the game and playing.
And also, imagine some of these big Premier League stadiums, you're trying to get your car to the stadium. Imagine trying to get to like the Emirates or White Hart Lane, wherever, half one. The chances you get through. So obviously, you've got to go really early, but that becomes stressful itself. That's probably the most stress I would have, like road rage on the way to a game where you think, actually, I might be late or something.
And you're trying to sort...
Panicking, aren't you?
I think I told you when we used to go half one in Lee Clark, like we used to get given the car park pass, didn't we? And Lee Clark was captain for Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. And I was in the car, it was me, Lee Clark and the masseur. Lee Clark's pulled up and the steward's gone, he's gone, I forgot my pass. He's like, sorry, can't come in, like, his pass. Lee Clark's like, I'm playing today, like, I'm captain. Obviously, I've got the master and I've got Sam in the back. It's fine if them two don't get him, but he's the captain. And he's like, all right then, ring Peter Reid and tell him you're not letting the captain park his car in the staff car park because he hasn't got a pass. 42,000 people, where's the captain? Where's the captain? Oh, steward's not letting him in. Like, pathetic. It's typical Jobsworth. But, like, that things like that, you know, that causes a bit of stress. Yeah. So Lee Clark's getting annoyed and frustrated with some Jobsworth. Then he's got to go and captain the team in the Premier League or whatever it was, 42,000 people. And you think, like, and it is that drive in there. It used to be a pain. Remember that?
Yeah.
So you're in the changing room then. What's like, what you're doing? What, like, for you before a game, what was your normal go-to, Dave?
So again, like, people are so different. Like, away games and things, some people like arriving as late as possible and they can just get there and it's but I was one who wanted to be there early. So, like, home game, if it's usually 1:30 meet or 1:15 meet, I'd be there probably for about 12:30, mate.
Would you?
Yeah, I used to love that. I'd go in there, get all my...
What would you do?
If I'm starting, then I'll sort of see the masseurs and stuff, do all my stretching. Just look after. I used to love that sort of that feeling for a game where, again, you're just being so selfish. You're just concentrating on yourself.
And you get massage on just on your legs? Or?
Yeah, just to liven up your legs. Then I'll go through like a lot of prehab, so a lot of sort of exercises to kind of fire everything up and injury prevention and stuff like that. So I do quite a bit. And obviously, when you're older though, isn't it? When you're Wolves and that, isn't it? And obviously the facilities are a lot better at that point. So you've got like warm-up rooms and stuff like that, and you've got all the equipment in there, all the foam rollers, the massage balls, all that sort of stuff. So I'd go to town on it all. Then I'd feel amazing by the time you went out.
Yeah,
it's good. And I was like massive into the back end of my career. And this is another reason why I wanted to stay in my own room as well, because I was big on visualization. So I'd like to, the night before a game, have like sort of 15-20 minutes just sitting almost like in a meditative state and just thinking about the game and what.
He's so focused, so focused.
How good's that though, David? Because even back then, imagine that would be quite rare, would it? Even back then, even at Wolves, what is that, like 10 years ago?
Yeah. So probably that's still probably when I was about 26, 27.
So that must have been quite ahead of the curve then, wouldn't it? Because I'm sure there was a few doing it, but that wouldn't have been the norm, would it? Like that in the same way.
No, I say it more is now because there's a lot. Of
I think now, it is. But
yeah, and that was the reason why I wanted to stay in. But I'd do that again on a sort of a match day. So I would sort of take myself into sort of whether it's a toilet cubicle or something like that, and just sit for 5 minutes and just go through the game and jobs. So I always have 2 or 3 things like in and out of possession which I'd focus on, right? So today when I've got the ball, or when we've got the ball, I'm always checking my shoulders. So just drilling that into my mind. So when I'm out on the pitch, I'm always just looking and things like that.
Telling yourself.
And then if we haven't got the ball, all about like anticipation. I've like little messages I'll be saying to myself and repeating to myself as the game's going. Because you can get lost in the game a lot of time, can't you? It's all going on, and when you're not on the ball, you can end up just kind of like sort of waltzing around a little bit, walking, whereas I had to kind of stay in the zone as much as possible, have these little messages all the time, whether it's in or out of possession. But
it's amazing to hear that, Gavin. Yeah, like that is it. Proper, like that is amazing to think that you were doing that at such a young age.
Like Dan Abraham's called Soccer Tough, and it's all about psychology and football. Oh, right. A lot of stuff from that in terms of those little messages in the down times. Again, goes out for a throw in, you rather than just pull up your socks and just kind of have a look around the stadium. I'm thinking, right, so they've got the ball here, who's around me, right, if it goes there, I'm ready, I'm gonna be there.
It's just levels of focus and concentration, isn't it, that like I just wasn't capable of at that age.
But do you think it can sometimes be counterproductive though? Like are you not overthinking it? You talk about people like in the zone or in the flow, like are you not overthinking it sometimes, do you think?
For me personally,
becomes the flow though, doesn't it?
I think it massively helped me. I think
I suppose,
kind of Rolls Royce of a player who just relies on just pure technical instinctive stuff, then that wouldn't be the right. If you told that to, I'm trying to think, someone like
Gaza, George Best,
someone like
that, Jamie Vardy.
That's got to be all instinctive. But for me, and the way I played, that's what was kind of, especially get to second balls, all that sort of thing, and being the first there, being on the ball.
See, it's funny, and I don't like this. Sam, you said this first, but it resonated with me loads. Like you've clearly there, Dave, got a real sort of outline of how you want to approach the game, your preparation, your focus and concentration. You know what you're doing from minute to minute to minute. Mine just changed from moment to moment.
Yeah.
So I genuinely, like you said this first, didn't you? But it like hit me like a flipping train. Because one minute I would be like, you know, that cool, smouldering James Bond, and I'd walk in and go, I'm really concentrating today, and I'm like, you know, I'm one of those laid-back guys. Then the next week I'd be like that. Here we are, then, ready to play. Yeah. And I was just like,
it's just trying to cope, isn't it? What Drew Braun taught, you're trying to cope with the nerves, and you're not quite sure what to do. And obviously, what you found something that you felt works for you, whether or not it did or didn't, that you felt it did.
Yeah.
But you don't know. I was the same.
I'm gonna have a bag of sweets. Well,
I was influenced by people around me.
Like my big thing was I couldn't eat before a game. Couldn't eat before a game.
Pre-match though. Would you not have a pre-match at like 12?
I'd have minimal, yeah.
What would you have?
Load up the day before. Chicken, always chicken.
Yeah.
And weirdly,
pasta used to. Yeah. Well, I mean, especially pasta was what the go-to football. It was not about protein. It was like white pasta, just like carbs. We have white pasta.
Which was good the day before.
Boiled chicken, really. And then beans.
Yeah, I used to be like,
it was too dry otherwise.
Extra slow today. We had 4 bowls of white pasta.
My mum used to say,
beans, get that white pasta in you. Thanks, Mum.
You know Mike Williamson, you've obviously met him.
Yeah.
So he was at Wolves with me. And he
used to be at Newcastle?
Newcastle, yes. This is the back end of his career. He's a proper thinker, trying to get that every
get the edge
of his ability, massive on his nutrition and all that sort of stuff. And he used to, on a match day, he'd set his alarm for like 5 o'clock, get up, have a protein shake and a little bit of food, and then go back to bed, and then that's all he would do then. All he would have then for the rest of the day, leading into the game, is water and coffee.
And he would set
that alarm for 5 because he worked out for his body to process that food or whatever it was, the energy, then he needed that amount of time.
And if that worked for him, great. Yeah. If that worked for him, great. I'm envious because like he had a set routine. Whereas for me, I was like, I can't eat anything. And then I see the sweets and I go, I shouldn't really eat that because I feel terrible. I can't stop myself. I'm going to eat the sweets. And then I'd be like, I'm just going to be really quiet. I'm just going to sit here like I'm like some sort of cool gangster. And then I'd be like, right, I'm just going to shout really loud and be a clown.
You're just trying to find it.
Just constantly trying to cope with this. Because, and again, I do think it was because, like you say, a little bit of visualization, a little bit of concentration and focus, a little bit of just like staying in tune with what it is you're about to do. I was just totally in the moment, full of fear, full of fear of like, oh my God, I'm going
got to play well,
I've got to do this, I've got to do that, coping mechanism.
It's like Jamie Vardy having that Red Bull, like whether or not research would show that it helps or there's whatever in it. For him, it works. So if he doesn't drink that, his mentality, I haven't had my Red Bull, I feel tired today. Oh my goodness, I don't feel as good today. It's a different.
Remember Pro Plus?
Yeah.
Who's with that? Pop.
Well, I had a little spell of doing the Vicks, and the Vicks on there. Ready to play now, ready to go. Like, I've just had absolutely blown me eyeballs off.
On the Saturday, played well today. I know that Vicks.
Yeah, it was the Vicks.
Really
it was. Yeah.
On the Tuesday, get done 4-0, give 4 goals away.
Yeah.
Did you not put your Vicks on?
Maybe I didn't put it on.
Yeah.
Sean Reid. I remember at Chester. Sean Reid and Peter Jackson, the centre off, remember they used to be the Huddersfield manager, they used to have a little blast of whiskey. So we in Chester, Peter, I think that might have been an old Everton thing. I'm sure Peter Reid and all them used to do that. Have a bottle of whiskey. And
Kevin Radcliffe say that on the podcast. Didn't he say that?
I bet he did.
I think he did on our podcast.
Because it was a bit like, and we used to go to Chester, and they would be like, they'd just get a bottle of whiskey and they'd just put there and just go before going out to play. I was like, I suppose it can't do any harm, can it? It's not going to get any muscles in it. Again, it's just, if it makes you think, I'm ready to go now, I feel better. I used to have a little spell of drinking Red Bulls. I used to have a can of Red Bull.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I've had a can of Red Bull. Oh my goodness, I think I've got away. I'm going to be amazing today. Then when you cross the out playing, right, I'm not drinking Red Bull anymore.
I'll tell you something I did the other week I haven't done for a long time. I had some pre-workout. So I bought some pre-workout because in the mornings I've been like trying to adapt my sessions and just go a little bit harder. I had some of this pre-workout.
Face tingling.
I was literally all over the place. I was like the weights were just falling off my arms. I was like I couldn't focus, I couldn't concentrate. It's like I'd had 75 cups of coffee. I think I might have just overdone the dose a little bit, but it's mad, isn't it? All these little...
I used to hate that feeling of when you'd eaten a little bit too much.
Mate.
You're in the warm-up and you feel...
the worst. That's why I never ate anything.
I've still got a little bit of food, hasn't digested properly.
But it just, again, it becomes mental. You suddenly go, I feel a bit bloated. Last night I did. I had a pinch a couple of chips, didn't I? Off that, and maybe I've had an extra bowl of pasta there. Yeah. I'm not going to be able to run today. I'm going to be so slow. And then in your mind, then you get the ball and you go, "Oh no,
so heavy across the ground."
Yeah. Oh no, I'm looking at that. It is mental, like the psychological aspect. I think what you're eating probably directly before though isn't probably going to make a huge amount of difference, is it? Like,
I think the day before.
As long as you're not obviously being ridiculous.
Did they say like a 24 to 48 hour, like that's the build you're going to see? Like, so if you're drinking water on the day and going, I'm going to get really hydrated, it's like, no, you need to drink water the day before to really try and rehydrate. And I think it takes a bit of time for your body to. I'm not sure. Yeah.
What would you have just before you're going out? So you're in the dressing room, you've done you're ready to go. The manager's done the team talk. It's 1:30. You've gone out, you've done your warm up, you come back in at like 20 to 3. Would you just have a drink of water there? You wouldn't have like Haribos or like we used to have jelly babies and things. Would you have anything like that?
I'd have a couple if they were on the side. I drink. Well, they're always on the side.
You wouldn't have bought them. You wouldn't have bought them.
No, I'd have had.
Are they your jelly babies? I'll have some of them.
Yeah, I used to destroy them. Well, you always got the kit man who'd put them all out when you're on the table. So I used to get a handful of something just because I'd be like, give me that good, that quick, that little bit of a...
What about any bananas, fruit or anything like that?
Nah, that's what made me feel heavy. Bananas, weirdly enough, I love bananas, but I've just always seen them as something that's like they're mushy and heavy. Like it's not like a light snack for me, a banana.
Psychological.
Yeah, because some people would go, I'll have a banana, that's nice and light.
What would you have, Dave? Would you just have water? And you come back in, you've done your warm up.
I'd have like more of an whether it's like a Lucozade or something like that, do you know what I mean? More of a sports drink.
A Lucozade, would you?
Yeah. You know,
a bit controversial, isn't it?
No, Dave.
No, but you know, like...
That's all falling apart there. I was saying how Dave professional is. He's just got sloppy. He might as well have had a pint.
Powerade or Lucozade, those sorts of isotonic drinks, which I'd never, ever drink away from.
Yeah, but you drink that when you were coming in at between 20 to 3 and 10 to 3.
It's the same mentality of me grabbing some jelly babies, isn't it? Just to give me that little bit of a...
Like sugar sort of thing. So I have a bit of that, and then sort of the last probably 5 or 6 years of my career, I'd play with chewing gum. They do caffeine chewing gums, so I'd play 5 minutes for a game, and then I'd chew that through the first half.
Choking hazard as a teacher, that.
Now I'd take another one at half time, and then kind of do the same. So I'd do that. Kind of just gives you a bit of a more alertness than anything else.
I was bad on the Pro Plus. I used to go.
Did you take more? I thought when you were half joking there, because I took a couple of minutes, but you used to. When you come back in the dressing room at 20 to 3 or 4:45, you'd have a Pro Plus sometimes before.
No, I'd have them in the warm up because in my mind, literally no scientific research on this whatsoever. In my mind, if I had it just before I go out for the warm up, it'll start to kick in for the kick off then. So then I'd have 2. But then I'd get back in for the warm up and go, I can't really feel anything. Best have another 2. So then I'd pop another 2. Yeah. And obviously you're only really supposed to have 2. So I'd be like, I'm buzzing now, I feel great. I'll have a couple of jelly babies, get myself going. And then I'll be
didn't sleep till Monday.
Yeah. But I remember, funny enough, when I played for Shrewsbury, we played Hereford in a replay in the FA Cup. And we played them on the Saturday, and I dislocated my thumb. That was the first thing in the game. Smashed my knee and got man of the match, but that's another thing.
Not relevant at all to the story, but got man of the match. You can look it up if you want. It's in the beta paper. Got the newspaper cutting.
But I was in a bit of pain anyway, and I obviously hadn't lined my stomach. And do you remember the torpedoes, the 600ml Brufins?
I was going to say before as well, that's something as well that I would usually take for a game. I'd have some sort of ibuprofen.
Oh mate, the torpedoes were horrendous, weren't they? Yeah. So I've had you remember the pink torpedoes?
Not really.
You remember them?
The Brufins. Sorry, the Brufins.
Yeah. You get 200 milligrams in the shops, can't you?
Yeah.
600s.
Yeah. So these 600s have to be. So I've just gone, right, my thumb's killing me. Like, I don't really want to strap it because the first thing a forward's going to want to do is volley it.
They grab you, yeah.
So I was like, right, I'll look after that. My knee's killing me, but I've got to play. And then, so I said to the physio, and he's gone, I have one there. So I just said to him, I've dropped it, lost it, I need another one. So I've taken 1,200ml, but I've not hardly eaten anything in the day. So I felt a little bit gurgly before the game. Anyway, you go through the game, your adrenaline gets you through, doesn't it?
Bleeding.
Best thing ever. We ended up, I got, like you say, got man of the match on the Saturday, which was great, drew 0-0. Played the replay on the Tuesday. As we played on the Tuesday, it's 0-0. And I think I told you the story before. Ball comes over from a corner, and I've got up, absolute Duncan Ferguson. About 10 of us go up together, probably a little bit exaggerated. And I've headed it from the penalty spot, and it's hit the corner of the bar and the post. They've cleared it, gone up the other end, scored. And then we've gone to try and get another corner. We've had a set piece come in, and they've broke again, got a free kick, and he scored from that. So we've come in, and as we've come in, sat down, I was like, fucking, my belly's going. Blah, blah, blah. I was thinking, God, that ain't good. Disappointed. We lost 2-0. Gary Peters then goes, you know who's all to blame for that, don't you? So I'm literally sat round going,
I wonder who. Someone's getting it. Someone's getting it here.
Feeling for him.
Someone's getting a rollicking.
As if getting beaten in a replay isn't bad enough to sort of a relative local rivals. And he's like gone, you, and pointed at me. And genuinely, when he pointed at me, I thought, oh, he's not got his glasses on or something. And I'm like looking round, and he's basically said, because I didn't score, and it's not like I've gone 2 yards in and just got to nod it in. I'm literally at the penalty spot.
You've hit the ball.
I've had to like do everything to get that header in. He totally blamed me. Really, there was Luke Jones, who was the young centre half. It was his fault. So he tried to blame me, totally destroyed me. But as he's hammering me, I've got this smirk on my face because do you remember what was it, Joe, the physio? What was his name? Hannigan, yeah. He's behind him. Like, you know, obviously, if the gaffer's talking right after the game, no one moves today. You don't get changed. Yeah. Joe's behind him. He's taking all of his clothes off and he's in his long johns. So he's in his long johns.
And he's gaffer's bollocking me and he's in your eye line.
He's trying to put his socks on. And as he's trying to put his socks on, he keeps falling over. So he's an old boy, wasn't he, Joe, back then? So all the lads are like smirking and laughing. Oh, no. And I'm going, what are you talking about? Like going back at him. This was me, Gary, all over. What are you talking about? How's that my fault? I felt like I did all right on the night or whatever. He's absolutely. But then my stomach started going again. I thought, sorry, I was going to shit myself. So I thought I was going to shit myself. The physio's like got his long johns on, nearly falling over. All the lads are trying not to laugh. Gary Peters is losing his head. Why is everyone laughing? What's going on? He's turned around to Joe and Joe's gone, he's gone, Joe! Can you sit down? He's gone, sorry, Gaffer, sorry, like that. He sat down and then he was in the car on the way back and obviously absolutely gutted. The Gaffer's hammered me, he said I'm at fault for the loss. I've gone from hero to zero. Yeah. And then I was in the flipping car on the way back. Thinking, what's going on here? And mate, I was in all sorts of trouble. And I ended up...
You get the cramps,
stomach cramps. And then I'm like, obviously, bit of detail, but I'm trying to be sick, but there's nothing coming up. And then all of a sudden, it's just black bile off the bottom of your stomach. And it's just a complete misjudgment of, right, I need to look after my thumb and my knee, try to get through this game, but I've not eaten properly, taken these torpedoes, and I was in all sorts of trouble. I'd gone from flipping hero, man of the match on the Saturday, to Tuesday, nearly shitting myself in front of the gaffer, the gaffer hammering me, all the lads taking a piss at me, being in the car and puking black vial. And I thought, if that's not flipping a reflection of my career, I don't know what it is.
It's bad though, isn't it? You think about the long-term damage we used to do to us. Like I remember getting them injections that you only get a couple. I remember having like 2 or 3 of them for a couple of seasons, like in my ankle and my knee and stuff, isn't it? And, like, I'm sure the lads don't get anything like cortisone.
Did you have some in your face?
Blew my face up. But they don't get them anymore, I presume, did they? Remember, was it cortisone injections where you just put it in the ankle and that? It was like, but is that not a bit of just a painkiller or something?
I think there's been again, it'd be good to do research on this, but I think there's been a couple of payouts from the PFA on a couple of players that.
You've got the number.
Yeah, well, look, clubs have actually been taken for a few quid, I think, funny enough, Leroy Rossini was telling me that he used to have them and he ended up, I don't know whether he did get a payout, but he was saying something about players have been getting payouts because clubs are just going, look, get through the game, because they're literally, aren't they, inject. Yeah. Can't feel anything anymore. Yeah. Like, I can't walk. All of a sudden, injection. I now feel like I can run up a mountain.
As a player, because you should be brave and say, "No, I'm not doing that. I need to get right." Whatever. But you're just desperate to play. You're desperate to play. Yeah. You don't think long term about it, and and if it's a big game and things like that, you don't lose your place.
And back then, it was more like, first of all, you lose your place, but it was also about your character as well.
Absolutely.
Like
you couldn't pull out of games. Like you'd be seen as weak. Like, if any of the lads ever pulled out of a game, I'd be like, "That's embarrassing." Yeah. Like, what's the matter with you? Like, strap it up and play. Yeah. Like, that would be the attitude. Like, regardless of the long term, I'd be like, what do you mean you're injured? An injury was like something's broken or you've torn your hamstring. Yeah. Even like, I've pulled my calf. Well, you'll be all right, won't you?
Yeah.
You'll be all right to play Saturday. Yeah. Like, no, I pulled my calf, but you'll be fine.
I remember playing away at Aldershot and remember, like, you think you've got the flu, but it's not the flu, is it? It's like bad cold and you're like, you should be in bed really, you got a bad back and all that. But I smashed my ankle, my ankle ligaments were gone as well. And the gaffer was like, I need you. That one. I need you. And I was like, oh, fuck it. I'm on the back of the coach on the way to Aldershot and the lads are going, and I'm like, they can tell I'm being serious. I'm like, just get away from me. Like, don't talk to me. And I honestly felt I was hallucinating on like in the warm-up during the game because my ankle... Scored. Don't remember the goal. Literally, like, went 2-0 up.
Better player, hallucinating.
Yeah, scored. Like, drew 2-2 in the end. We went 2-0 up, but we drew 2-2. And I remember... You'd adrenaline, and then as soon as the game, I remember being on the bench. I just got out of the shower, when you've got the uncontrollable shakes, and I was just like, that. like that, and then like my ankle was like fat, and I was out for about 3 weeks after that.
They wouldn't play now, which is the right thing to do, isn't it? Because no one thanks you. Like, suddenly you play and you play terrible and you get dragged off and you're limping off and you played with an ankle, and everybody's like rubbish. You look in the paper, it's Shropshire start ace and 3 out of 10, and you get dropped next game. You're like, I've just played through an injury.
Isn't it? When you are playing through injuries, and
no one knows
playing that well, and everyone thinks that you're 100% all the time, don't they? Whenever I'm the same now, you go and watch a game and you're expecting every player to be 100%. Aren't you, as a fan watching,
it just doesn't happen.
Honestly, it never happens, does it?
But never.
Nowadays,
the last 10 years of playing football, I honestly tell you, I never ever went 100% to that.
But nowadays, I think though the lads, like, do they still do that? I don't think they play with knocks and that now. Do they still in the same way?
It depends who you are. Like, again, you can't name names on the other side, but like, I've got my skipper and I, who Gaz Dean.
He plays.
Mate, he plays. He gets through things, mate. I don't know how he does it. Like last year, we played away at Spennymoor.
But he's a bit of a throwback when he's mid-30s throwback, and I'm thinking about, like, in the Prem, 23-year-old lads, like 24-year-old lads, and I'd advise, to be honest, if I was their agent, like I'd say, actually, if you're not right, do not play, because you'll get pulled apart on Match of the Day and Sky Sports for being out of position.
What I would say is as well, I think like, it's who you're doing it for, like, and I like to think that my players play for me. They play for themselves, of course.
Play for themselves first.
They play for the football club, and they play for me. And like I got Alfie Bates, who plays for me as well. He's 22. Last year, he probably derailed his whole season by playing against top of the league. He'd been in bed all week, sweating his ass, and he was just absolutely adamant. He's going to play against arguably probably the best player in the league, and he weren't having any of it. And I was saying to him, look, don't be a hero. And he was like, nah, I'm playing. Well, you can call that young and naive and all that, but he again is another like warrior. Like they are out there, but you're absolutely right. As a rule of thumb, they're not the same.
But I think as well, especially higher ups, if you're a 22-year-old who's got a 4 or 5 year contract, you don't have to play.
No.
It's different when you're like
in January and you've got no time.
And you're out of contract in the summer and you think, I need to play.
I need to run a game here and like to play.
And it's probably the worst thing to do, because if you're out for a long time, then you are knackered, but you feel like you've got to play and get through stuff. So, yeah.
It is tough, isn't it? But like back then, I don't think it was like I can't sit here and say, I played in them games when I was injured, not because I'm a hero, because I'm a warrior. I think it was more because I was worried about what people would think about my character.
I think the braver thing, looking back, would be to go, I'm not right today.
Absolutely,
I'm not playing.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do that. It's hard to tell. It's hard, like as a lad, to say that to a physio or to say it to the gaffer. And the gaffer, Peter Reid, used to come in and he'd be on the physio. Is he all right? Flipping out, stop faffing about with him. We've got him wrapped up in cotton wool in here. You comfortable, you? Having a little coffee together on the treatment table. Are you all right? Can be right for Saturday? Yeah, gaffer, yeah.
Isn't it mad? You'll be on the treatment tables if you say, it's really sore, like my knee's killing me. It's like, it's not good. I'll give it a go in training. I'll say, but it's not good. And the gaffer will come over and say, you're right to start tomorrow? Like, yeah, sign gaffer.
I'm all right, yeah. And he's got the physio, strap it up, please. And he's put this massive strap, and you think, I've got this massive strap around me knee. And I've just doing two. I'm on the tube-roofing. I'm going to have tube-roofing and strap it up and play. And you think, like, what are you doing?
I bought some of that, I saw that Conor McGregor's Tidal spray, TIDL.
What's that?
I thought that'd be like a little gimmick, like Conor McGregor's. But I got a little bit of a pull in my shoulder. So I thought, I want to try and crack on with what I'm doing. So I'm going to get this stuff anyway. Anyway, you can't get it in England, you have to order it from America. So anyway, about a month later, I've obviously done it late at night or whatever, it's come through the door, I've got, it's that stuff, I don't need it anymore, but I'll keep hold of it. And then I tweaked my shoulder again, so I was like, I'll give it a bit of a spray. It literally felt like I had no shoulder. So when Gaz done his foot at the end during Spennymoor, I've gone to him, look, spray your foot with that.
Get that all over your foot.
Unbelievable, you're not even going to feel like you've got a foot. So he was like a little bit like, yeah, all right, Gaffer, I'll do it. So he does it, gets through the game, absolute warrior, and he's like, how good's that spray? Needless to say, I didn't see it, but they're like 30 quid a bottle, because by the time you've paid the shipping, it's like it's cryotherapy. Is it cryotherapy? The cold, yeah. So it's like one in Shrewsbury.
Just numbs your foot then.
Basically, yeah. It's like a freeze spray.
So probably but anything that's just masking the pain, masks the pain.
Well, I bought another bottle because it was gone. So I bought another bottle. You'd be better
off doing your Pro Plus and Brufen probably.
It come over, and then I said to him the other day, I went, "Oh mate, I've tweaked myself again in the gym. Can I have that bottle back?" He went, oh yeah, on that bottle. I was like, flipping, I spent another 30 quid on that. But what's happened is all the players have gone, Gaz, give us a bit of that spray. So they're passing it around the changing room. So before you know, it's gone. So the gaffer comes and goes, Gaffer, lads are asking, can we get some more of that spray? It's like 30 quid a bottle. I'm like, oh yeah, lads.
No one can feel anything.
Yeah, but that's good stuff, that. I thought it was going to be a gimmick, but it was proper.
So just moving back to what we're talking about, the diet, what about after the game then? What about when you finished? I mean, again, 20 years ago, that is full on. We used to drive back from Sunderland. We used to stop at the Weatherby Whaler chip shop, like obviously Weatherby just outside Leeds, get out, 18 fish and chips. Hold on. No, and obviously be the young lads, be me, Daz Holloway or Mickey Bridges or someone like that. No, I want a sausage, something battered sausage, and I'd have like a pen and paper, and you'd get all the order, and like all with chips, extra salt and vinegar, HP sauce, and you'd come on, and all the lads would be having that with like drinking Budweiser, having fish and chips at Weatherby Whaler. And sometimes you'd catch like another team, like if you're in Sunderland, you'd see Newcastle going back to Middlesbrough or Darlington, and obviously like that doesn't happen. But even towards the end, when we've been more professional, we were having pizzas. Like I don't know what people have now. We'd have pizzas in the dressing room. Thinking, like Wrexham, we used to do that. I think Tranmere after the game, pizzas would come into the dressing room or be on the bus, and they get something in here. Which you need to get something. What would the Wolves lads be doing then, Dave, when you were?
So that you'd have food in the dressing room afterwards. But
what would the food be?
Cooked at the stadium, so it'd be like just chicken and wedges and stuff like that. So usually you just want to eat crap after a game.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you're desperate for the salt and the sugar.
After the game, and you've completely emptied your body in terms of all your energy, haven't you? But yes, that was it's pretty dull, I suppose, at Wolves. But I'd always go back and have a takeaway or whatever anyone going. But Reading was the best. We had a big warm-up room at the Medeski Stadium.
Is this where Jaap Stam is the manager?
Jaap Stam, yeah. So we had a big warm-up room at the back of the changing rooms. And then once we'd gone out to play the game, and into the second half, some staff would come down and turn it into like a dining room. So all the tables would be out there, and they're bringing all like the cookers, or not the cookers, but the food warmer things.
The warmers, yeah.
But we would have Wagamamas, Nando's.
What?
Honestly, everything and anything you can think of, and you go in.
I'd have been bagging it all up.
I did, mate.
For the
I got loads of those Wagamama bags at home, mate.
Monday, Tuesday, I've got them on me sorted. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd always have one there. You'd have one, then I'll take one home as well.
What about drinks? What would you drink? Just water.
Straight after a game, just because you're thirsty and it's in the changing room, just have water. And then at night, to be fair, as long as I didn't have a game on the Tuesday, I'd have a couple of beers. Used to have. I really struggled to sleep after a game, and I find like I just need a couple of beers.
Would you not drink on the Saturday night then if you had a game on the Tuesday? Or we'd have a couple.
I might have one or two, but like
you wouldn't have
just to help me settle down.
Yeah. How mad was it after a game?
That's horrendous,
I just couldn't.
Tuesday night games.
I would.
What do you mean? Getting to sleep?
I didn't like that feeling.
You get restless legs.
Yeah.
See that didn't your legs. You couldn't control your legs.
And if you had a bad game, my days.
Do you know what? And again, you're probably like as a manager. And I know it's National League North, but it's like oh my god. So as a player, you were saying there. I couldn't stand that feeling of like so tired, but I can't go to sleep because the things are, even when you've done well, but it's terrible. Terrible if you haven't.
Pro Plus as well, mate.
You did it. Pro Plus, torpedoes. And like,
stomach inverts.
Yeah, as a player it was bad, especially if you hadn't played well. And if you'd lost but played well, you'd be all right.
Yeah, absolutely true.
I'll be all right. But as a manager, it's unbearable. Yeah. It's literally the worst. You question everything. Yeah. Why am I doing this? What's the point in doing? Why do I put myself in this situation? Why hasn't that gone right? It's relentless. Your head is spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning, and then you finally drift off and you wake up and you go, looks like a nice day outside. Lost. It just takes over your whole life. Your whole mood, your life, everything. Family get it. Everyone gets it, and you go, do you know what? It's not their fault. I'm not going to put it on them. But there's nothing you can do. You can't do it. Because what you do is you go about your daily life and then it's almost like you remember and go, like then you sink again. And it's like...
Why do mad people do it? Like you see Roy Hodgson and people like that, don't need to do it. But I suppose it's like addictive as well, isn't it? You need the buzz. Like, because on the flip side, when you win, Gav, it's the most amazing...
Morning, everyone. Let's get the bacon
Hello,
sandwich.
Everybody. So like for your family, they must be like, please win the game.
I think I'm pretty good. Well, funny enough, Holly said to me in the car earlier.
You think you're pretty good if you lose? I can't imagine that.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not having that. I've lost, but I like to think I don't project it.
Right, we need
We'll get Holly on.
I think that is very controversial. I think if I ask Holly,
when we're
she will
next
say
to the
you're
studio,
a nightmare.
we'll get her in and we'll ask her the question.
Yeah.
But like for me, I think when I win, I'm very much just very grateful, very appreciative. Remember where it came. I don't celebrate it recklessly. I just remember where it all stemmed from. So the hard work, the diligence, the due diligence, like all of that is very much like that's where it came from. So go back and do it again. And it's funny because the losses you dwell on, the wins, I'm on to the next one. Onto the next one. And the better I get at being a manager, if I am any good at any point, is after the losses, I'm on to the next one. So I now have got to the point where regardless of result, I walk out, I do my interview, and then I'm on to the next one. I'm on to my analyst, I'm on to this, right, we've got to be in, this is what we're doing for training. And I suppose that's just a way of drowning your disappointment or even trying to not get too excited.
Yeah. Your losses are a bigger low than your wins are a bigger high.
Not even a question.
Yeah.
Never a true word.
That's hard to take.
Hard profession. I mean, and if you look at me, really, I'm part-time in the National League North. And
doesn't make any difference though, does it?
No.
It hurts whatever you are. Like either Sunday morning, it hurts losing. I think, I would imagine, I don't know because obviously...
Well, it is livelihoods. Like the lads who play for me, like that's what they do for a living.
In some ways, it's more important because, if someone gets sacked from the Prem, they're going to get another job, aren't they? Somewhere like a really well-paid job more often than not. You're not necessarily going to get that if you get sacked from Conference North. Where do you go again? You're looking at the wages and stuff. It's bigger. It's more important.
I think what it comes down to for me is I'm not concerned about anything external. You've got your own sort of personal goals and desires, haven't you? So when you have a setback, you've just got to try and put it into context. And we've had a couple of setbacks recently, but we're on an upward curve again now. We were electric on Saturday, and you're like, oh, brilliant. But now's the time not to get complacent. Now's the time to really double down and go, right, let's kick on. So
you've got to try and stay as emotionally stable as you can when you lose, but then you've got to enjoy the highs as well, though.
Yeah.
Because
again,
I
think that is the
really
thing.
important, isn't it?
Because they don't often come.
Yeah, it goes the other way around you, doesn't it? Like you said, you feel horrendous in the lows, and once you've got the highs, you're on to the next one straight away, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm bad for that. When we've had a win, I'm very, very grateful. I express a lot of gratitude. I remember where it's come from, and then I'm just on to the next one. And Holly always says to me, just savour the win.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy the Saturday night.
No, I'm on to this now. We've got them on Tuesday. Right, I need to get the report. I need to get the video analysis. And she's like, just it's Saturday night.
But that's because you are intense like that, aren't you? It's what you imagine Pep Guardiola being like, don't you?
It's strange though, because Premier League managers, they'll think that, but they've got people doing all that for them.
Yeah.
As well. So you haven't got the resources.
Yeah.
You have to really think about. Whereas I imagine Pep would go in on a Sunday morning, the lads in the cool down, and he's got a presentation.
Ready to roll out.
Well, I went in with Rob Edwards, didn't I? He was good enough to invite me in, and he was cracking up, and I was like, "What do you mean?" Because he's got 11 people in this room, and he sat there having a chat with me, and he's like,
"It's a Forest Green as well."
Yeah, and he's like, "You're doing all of this. I know you're doing all of this," and he went, "But the difference is, it's you. I've got 10 people," and we were laughing about it, and he was saying, "One day, don't worry, you'll have this as well," and I was going, "Wow."
It's still a mental stress, though, isn't it? This that you've always just got, even if you got all that done for you, it's still the feeling. It doesn't matter how much money you've got or where you are. It's like that feeling of not. And that's what people don't understand. When fans go, "Oh, it doesn't matter if he's on 100 grand." It's like, that's irrelevant.
Nah.
Once you get to a certain level where that is the money's all fine, that defeat is massive and you feel terrible no matter what level you're at. When you play badly, it's horrendous. When you play well, it's a great feeling, isn't it? Walking off the pitch, clapping when you've played well. There's nothing like it, is there? And when you lose though and you walk off, or you've been subbed and you've lost 2-0 and you've had a nightmare.
A lot of people are relying on you as well, aren't they? Like supporters, like the people who have employed you at the club, your players. You want them to see the benefits of what you've been working on. I think that's where it comes to for me. And then after that is you've got your own personal goals, but first and foremost, you don't want to let people down, do you? That's where it comes to. But just going back to it in terms of food after it.
Yeah, we've got a bit sidetracked a few times there, haven't we, gone?
Southport away, brilliant. Literally come out the ground, turn right. Anyone who's been there, there's a Chinese/fish and chip shop. Oh, different class.
Chinese, right? I'm not having that. Chinese/fish and chip shop. That sounds terrible.
It's brilliant. It's honestly, it's quality. The standards for it literally looks like the dingiest, most horrible place. They could do with sorting the decor out, but the food that comes out is incredible.
I'm not having that. It's like
when the fixtures come out, I'm like, "Where's Southport away?" Yes.
But you can't be a Chinese and a fish and chip shop kind of thing. It's like in Shoreby, what's that pub called where it's a pub, an Indian restaurant, and a car wash. I'm not having that. Like, what? So who's running that? Like, what's his specialty? Is it the pub or is it the beers or is it the Indian restaurant or is it the fact he's good at washing cars? Like he's just covering all bases. Like, I'm not having that.
I'm trying to think.
Not having the quality there.
Do you know what I will say? Shout out to my club Brackley. The food is outrageous.
Yeah.
Like training. Yeah, well, you've had it. Training.
Did we have any? I haven't had any food when I've been there.
Training nights Tuesday. Like my
the lads get food after training.
Yeah. Like they're so looked after. We've got the cabin. Like we've got football on. They've got like it's unbelievable.
Don't know the born, do they? Like these days, these lads.
They've got the gym. They've like have a cup of tea with each other. They come in and do the team meeting. Go back and have a cup of tea. Get ready for it's unbelievable. But on a Tuesday we have beans on toast. Like with
old school.
With about a truckload of cheese, brilliant. And then on a Thursday, it's like can be anything. Last night we had pasta bake with salad. It's brilliant. But on a match day, the match day food is quality, but it's so random. So you've like got curry sauce, some chips, some sausage rolls, some Brussels sprouts, and it's like what the fuck's going on here?
What am I putting on my plate to try and make a meal?
Yeah, brilliant.
What about, so when you go back on the bus, like there's pizzas and whatever that might be on there, but how bad is the bus journey when you've lost? Everyone's scared to laugh, aren't they?
Well, do you know who?
Gaffer's down the front and you're thinking you can't be seen to be having any sort of fun or anything like that. You see the gaffer just turning around and give like death stare. That's
what I've heard. The worst person for that is Gavin Cowan at Brackley. Like we got like that, and that used to happen with all the managers. Every manager you've had, you like because lads, like you'd be all right, wouldn't you? Like you know, you'd be gutted, but you would have like that gallows humour with your mates, wouldn't you? And you would just and you'd like, and the gaffer'd be like looking over, and you'd be like, oh, shh, don't laugh.
Do you know what? Like,
I've heard you're terrible for that.
Nah, it's the context of the loss, isn't it? Like for me, because I know every manager has tried to do this whole dictator type thing, just try and treat the players like men. If, like for me, I felt like the Spennymoor game this year, we drew 2-2 and the lads knew I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy because of the lack, like there'd been a lot that go in for the club and I felt like there'd been a conscious lack of focus and concentration. Like they're the controllables for me. I think if you have a bad game, I've said to the lads on many occasions, right, you have your say, it's not good enough, this needs to be better. Right, listen, I want on the coach, don't want any of this like, oh yeah, we'll try and look sad for the gaffer and all of that. Get on the coach.
Yeah, I hate all that.
Get over it. I don't like all of this fake stuff. Don't do all this like, oh yeah, let's be quiet for the gaffer. And then you get in your little cars and you're having a laugh and a joke and
you're all going straight out. You're all straight at the bar.
Get on the coach, be your normal selves, have a couple of beers if you have a couple of beers. We're getting Tuesday. I don't want any of this like, oh, we got beat Saturday. So look, we get over it now. Let's just get over it now. I've said my piece. We've said our bit. We move on. So I don't really like to be that. But it is in the context of the loss. If the loss has been at the hands of controllables and the lads have knowingly gone, I'm just going to try and cut a few corners here. I'm not going to apply myself, which has never happened with Brackley, to be fair. Then I could be like that, but not just for the sake of it. You remember like the gaffers in the day, and it's like you've lost. You've played really well, but you've lost 1-0 in the last minute, and then he's giving you the cold shoulder, and you think, well, it's football. Football's precarious, isn't it? It could go either way.
You get that.
Slack that for me.
A bad one is when you're obviously modern day buses, they have the tellies on the Sky Sports News and you've made a rick or something like that and they're showing the goals and you say,
we're never on Sky Sports News, thankfully, Dave, but that must have been horrendous for you.
But you're in the change rooms after, like, whose man was that? And it comes on the
bus. And then in the comment, and Edwards lost his man. Well, I've told you that. We played Mansfield, we lost 2-1 to Mansfield. I played left wing, the right back scored 2. and it showed the goals on the way back with Shrewsbury, and I've just got 1-2 by the right back. So the right back, I can't remember who he was, but he's a good player. He's rolled the ball. He's rolled the ball into the centre forward, got it back, and Cafu or whatever he was called is then like scored, and it's literally it shows me on the screen, but when I'm on the screen with the right back, but when the right back's scoring, I'm actually not even on the screen. Yeah. Obviously, like Wrexham had some good funny lads now. Where's Sam? Where's Sam? I'm like, oh, the camera's not watching that. He's on as well. Like,
if the camera would have been on you, you'd have been blaming the centre half.
I was like that. I was just going, oh no, the right back scored 2.
Which we can laugh about now, but at the time,
it's horrible. Like you want to crawl in a ball and just go and hide. He was a good player. I don't know who it was. He was a good player. I think it must have been Catherine.
Yeah, it must have been.
I'll have to look that up who that was. It'd be like John Smith played about 8 games for Mansfield ever.
Mate, those are the worst.
Right, thanks for that. We're supposed to talk about food, but we got a little bit distracted. But
It was all about preparation. And
prep, isn't it? Prep.
Prep.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
fascinated
good.
by Dave's prep there. That's very interesting. Until
We're
he
going
spoils
out tonight and taking that on board for tomorrow.
I'm visualising going for a couple of glasses of wine tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that.
Loved that though.
Nice.
Enjoyed that.
Yeah.
By the way, what a beautiful building this is. Well, I think we might have to come here a couple of times, a few more times. When the kids aren't here, some holidays. Did we do one here before?
Yeah, didn't win the hall, didn't we?
Class. Well, it's brilliant. Your office is probably a little bit. Well, do you know what I like? What you've done with the place, Sam? Right?
I did, if anybody's looking on YouTube, it's good. I'm trying to make it like Apple.
Yeah, it feels like when you got a straight jacket and you're in like one of them.
I don't know how they work, but I look like people go, he's got 2 computers out. You don't know how they work.
He's got an iPad next to it that he
Right,
uses.
right. Not on YouTube, like,
I don't use any of that. This is my phone.
They're the whitest walls ever. It's the most blandest room. There's no plants or pictures or any sort of decoration. It's just.
I didn't realise how long we'd been speaking for. Look at the time.
I want to get a picture of me in like just in a pair of like white pants wrestling a bull right up on the wall. But
Yeah.
I don't know whether.
Yeah, that would work all right. I'm not sure the governors are going for that.
Are we done? Is that gone off?
Just gone off here, but I'll put it back on.
Right, well, thanks very much for listening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Give us a little bit of feedback. We've got a couple more episodes left before the end of this series, and then some big things.
don't we?
Yes.
What we want, listeners, is some good questions you haven't asked before. You can ask us pretty much anything, can't you, within reason?
Yeah.
And we'll do our best to answer it. But any questions, anything at all,
Yeah, we want to do like a
ask
Q&A.
us. Q&A, that'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be good. And we've got something really excited planned, hopefully.
Oh, I can't wait.
November time, hopefully.
can't
Fingers
wait.
crossed, a bit of a
Yes.
live event.
That'd be good.
An absolute belt.
Exciting
Right,
times.
thanks for listening, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Have a good rest of the week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you later.